Fuck. Pray for me.
This is just the longest fucking chapter summary that's ever existed.
We love you, Ben. You're going to be okay. You can do it.
I'll see you on the other side, boys. All right, here we go.
Yeah, read it like you're an auctioneer.
Chapter 22, The Price of the Ring. Egwene is up to separate in the hallway with Sheriam, who hastily summons Egwene to the trap, but Taryn grabs it. Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Bridgeburners Book Club, where together we read, discuss, criticize, and get excited about all things science fiction and fantasy. I'm your host, Sean, and with me is my co-host, Tyler.
That's me.
And our co-host, Bed.
Elsie Benwell. Oh, glad you're hurt. Let me heal thee. Oh, let me lay my hands upon your sleek and firm muscles. And oh my God, you're like a slippery snow leopard. Oh my God. Oh, Matt. Oh no, Matt, get the fuck away from me. Oh, yuck. Oh.
I now really hope we don't even make it to that chapter because that's fantastic.
We're excited to have you along with us each week as we take a journey together through the books we love.
Not exactly accurate. It gets the spirit across.
Yeah. More of that coming, I'm guessing.
Elsie Grinwell is definitely going to be a green, the horniest of Ajas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll follow her story long enough to find out, to be honest.
I don't think we know very much about her except that she was a child. Matt and Rand stayed
Yeah,
at their farm or whatever.
Yep, and she was horny.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where they were working with their shirts off between scarves, I think.
Clothed only in scarves.
I do admire that Robert Jordan will never, ever waste a named character. They will always come back. So Taverin means never having to say goodbye.
It's like he's paying to, it's like he's leasing each one and he's got to get his money's worth out of it.
Yeah. He paid a domain. He has their domains parked somewhere online and has to make sure he gets, yeah.
Was she a character in the show? I don't remember her showing up again, but
I don't think so. They don't really have the same epic end-to-end hopping.
Oh, yeah. You got to leave out some of these characters that they're not even important in the book, but they're just there, you know.
Or if you're the show, you just kill them.
Yeah.
You kill the important characters, or at least adjacently important characters.
I remember like Game of Thrones got so popular, you know, that people that were not book readers and don't have the kind of dedication that a lot of us nerds do. They're just I remember people not knowing, having to read things to guide them, who is this character in Game of Thrones and what do they do and what's their deal? And people were reading guides just so they could understand what was going on in Game of Thrones.
And then getting spoiled on everyone's death.
Yeah,
exactly. Or people who were astonished at the death at the end of season 1 of that show. Oh man, you have many more to come. Yeah.
To be fair, especially when you're reading the book, but also in the show, that first book is Ned Stark heavy from his perspective. You kind of feel like he's the perspective you're going to be reading for a lot of these books.
Yeah.
And then he's just gone.
Yeah.
So
that was a very revolutionary thing for, fantasy series, epic fantasy.
Yeah. Killing a POV is a big thing, especially one that's that prominent. Anyways, speaking of that, did you finish the show, Ben, right? The up through season 3?
I did.
I'm guessing you're probably not there yet, Tyler.
No, I'm still working on it.
I thought it was pretty good overall. I really liked the Ruidian episode. It sort of built up to a pretty good ending, I thought.
Yeah.
They wrap up Perrin's storyline in episode 7, and then episode 8 is wrapping. They just don't ever go back to Perrin's side of things, and then it wraps up Rand and Egwene and Moiraine and Nynaeve and Elaine. I guess everybody else basically. It was they did a whole battle for episode 7. Basically the whole episode was the course of a battle, so that was pretty fun.
Rad.
Back to Emmons Field.
I'm liking that storyline. if I'm recalling correctly, that's all stuff that happens in the next book. But it'd be kind of cool as we get into it to kind of see over the next, because I think we're probably going to be outpacing this series, but we'll still have to read we'll never be reading every season. I think is going to mix a couple books together, so it'll be interesting to see how it all comes out.
Yeah, because this season skips forward. It's like half and half, like 3 and 4. Like, a lot of the White Tower stuff is this season, but they're gonna have to backtrack to Stone of Tyr.
Yeah,
which will happen in this book.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're gonna have to.
No spoilers.
I mean, if they're going for, they're aiming for 8 seasons, and there's 14 books or whatever. So I imagine that at some point they're just really going to have to keep combining certain storylines and taking out little things in order to just streamline it. But some fans will probably get really mad at that. But what do you expect?
Yeah.
Axing peripheral main characters, but I don't want to spoil. Well,
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
2 of them, but they're really not they're big characters up to that point, but really both of them kind of their integralness. That's a word. Integralness.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. Thumbs up. Okay.
Sure.
Their importance to the story kind of tapers off after book 4 anyway, and so they have good deaths. Well, not really good death. One has a good death, the other not so much.
Yeah, I kind of expected that those characters would stay around longer, but it also makes sense, especially can we just say the Amerlin seat?
Yeah. And Loyal.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, I don't believe that Loyal may necessarily be gone. Probably, but I don't know. I feel like they could pull a thing.
It could be Gandalfed.
Yeah.
Right, or something happened.
If you don't actually see him
off screen,
get his head cut off, especially with all the fast travel nonsense going on there.
Exactly. But maybe it felt like he was a big part of the show.
Literally.
And he is in the books, I think, to this point. Yeah. Huge.
He's a big guy.
The Amerlin seat thing though, I guess they did this season, especially put her as a focus of it, so it makes sense they're kind of wrapping it up. And I assume that the world opens up a lot more, and there's a lot more things going on that they need to get to, and so they're probably we'll just move forward. I'm guessing that Elida kind of taking over is part of the books. It seems like it's being kind of hinted at, or something like
Egwene's
that.
trial even kind of talks about it too.
Yeah.
In chapter 22. There was a good little moment when Swan died.
Going to take over the tower. Should do her voice.
Aes Sedai in the show are way hornier and way more bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
They don't really execute people in the book, especially former, even a disgraced Amerlin. I don't think they would execute that person.
Yeah, probably not.
They would just keep them around as a scullery maid.
There was a hint in one of these chapters about the horniness of the Green Aja, at least. But yeah, it's nothing as explicit as the show, that's for sure. But it was something about, what's that joke about the Green Aja? I don't get it.
It's kind of funny just the way that Robert Jordan plays around it versus the way it is in the show, or even one of the episodes I was watching, they were talking the Green warder, I forget his name, who there was another guy, it was an Aes Sedai with 2 warders, but then one of the warders died, and it kind of
Maxim and
it kind of insinuates that they're bisexual, right? And Robert Jordan would never even think about that, right?
No.
Yeah.
Show's been pretty explicitly talking about queer stuff, I think, since the first season.
Only if he would only write about if it was prison pussy or something like that.
Yeah. Or actually as a girl with short hair.
Scandalous.
Yeah, that's basically bisexual.
Yeah.
that is bisexual.
Min,
a man and a woman with short hair.
Min encompasses everything that Robert Jordan was uncomfortable talking about, and it's just vaguely implied.
Men, the they, them.
Should we get into these chapters real quick here? Because there's kind of a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Gotta hustle.
Let's get into chapter chat.
Chapter 22, The Price of the Ring. Egwene is intercepted in the hallway by Sheriam, who hastily summons Egwene to her trial by Terangriel to become accepted. She finds out that Elaine has just passed her test. This chapter is too long to get bogged down in the details, but there's Aes Sedai and some glowing rings and shit. Unlike during Nynaeve's trial, which went perfectly, Alana senses a disturbance in the ring force, but that it decides to move forward regardless. Egwene's first scenario is a life of domestic bliss with Rand and their daughter living back in the Two Rivers. Rand has a fierce headache, but Egwene abandons him for the exit ring. Her second scenario is the wreckage of the city of Caemlyn, apparently besieged with Trollocs. She finds Rand trapped under a pile of wreckage, which is not above Rand's ability to move with the true source. However, Rand is teetering on the brink of insanity and knows that drawing further on the power would cast him into madness. Rand asks Egwene to put him out of his misery, but she cannot bear to heed his pleas. The third scenario finds Egwene as the Amyrlin seat, and she quickly finds herself at the center of a Black Aja plot to depose her as the Amyrlin and force her to the dark side, using 13 Black Aja and 13 Myrddraal as the catalyst for her forced conversion. She escapes and finds that Rand has been imprisoned in the traitor's court and is due to be executed. Egwene seeks an opportunity to free him, but her exit beckons her at the last minute.
Whew! That was good, man.
You got through it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Just needs to do the first one before he gets too tired or drinks too much beer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were very sober for this one, so that's a good job, buddy.
You caught me on a good day.
You know what this chapter is like to me, and it was just drilled into me again, hearing the chapter summary there, is Egwene's first scenario is fear about Rand. Her second scenario is fear about Rand. And her third scenario is also fear about Rand.
Yeah.
So I never took it as being like your worst fear you have to face 3 times in 3 different ways. Because they were all like her having to abandon or go against Rand or just...
Yeah, because Nynaeve's were like, one of them was about the village, and I forget the one was,
right.
But then like one was about land. It was different things, right? Yeah, Egwene is just stressed out about Rand, and it's all like, it seems interesting. It's not that out there. It's just it's the same kind of things 3 times in a row,
Yeah. I liked, well, especially the third one. I think I kind of liked the most. So Robert Jordan, actually,
The third one was the best.
he did write some interesting like stuff that kind of reminded me of the way the show portrays the using magic and violence and shit. Like we're actually getting into some real Aes Sedai cool shit happening where it's actually described more than just people channeling and then something happens. Things getting ripped apart.
Further dividing their divided riding skirts.
tugging further on their braids.
Non-consensually.
Right. Those are the main things that Aes Sedai do from what I understand from reading these books so far. Yeah.
They plot, they haze. It's also like they never, even in the show, notice maybe they kind of talk about it. It's never shown. They're never taking classes or receiving any kind of instruction. They're always just washing the floor.
Oh, yeah. There's like there's a whole thing in this chapter about, or maybe it's in the next chapter, about, all the sisters like gather around after, and like Alana wants to fucking be part of the punishment or something.
Let me, please, yes.
It's kind of weird. I don't know. I had to reread some of those sections a few times.
Classic
to like
Green being all kinky and shit.
I was just trying to understand what they were even getting at, because their behavior is bizarre to me in some ways. But we'll get there. At the beginning, let's see, there's some stuff in the hallways. Sheriam is, Egwene got those papers, right? At the last chapter, she got the papers from Varen, who was like, by the way, I just happen to have these secret things that absolutely nobody else knows about, which tells you everything you're going to need to know about the fucking...
Dark Aja. It's the stuff about Leandrin's companions and stuff.
So one other thing I was thinking about, so there is that whole thing, right? We'll get to like talking about their reaction to what went wrong, quote unquote, when they did this thing with Egwene here, her ceremony thing. But also, like, I guess that is related to the thing that happens like pretty close to the beginning here, which is is it
Alana senses a resonance.
Yeah. Like, what does that mean? I'm not exactly sure. Some kind of outside force, I guess, reflecting back stuff, like feeding back and forth with the energy of whatever the terangrials.
Sounds like a real life, like pseudoscience person trying to like sound like something's real. Like,
oh, I feel like a reverberation and it's getting louder.
Oh, it's the energy and it's like bouncing.
Right.
Ooh.
Let's talk about crystals.
Man, this resonance really harshing my vibe, man.
Did you guys take that to be that Egwene has the dreaming terangrial with her?
I didn't at the time, but
No.
now actually later on by what goes on in the next chapter is what I actually do assume that it's that.
If it is the terangrial, I mean, that's a plausible explanation, but like, what's the point? Did we need that?
Yeah, that's always good to ask.
It only really makes sense as like meant having happen if it is some sort of like subterfuge or something with Egwene herself, not a terangrial.
That's actually what I thought at first. But then also there is like a mention in one of these chapters about how they like used 2 terangrials once in a room and it like melted them both and people had headaches for weeks or whatever, like because those terangrials interacted strangely or something. So I felt like it could have to do, that could be a hint about that also maybe.
Yeah. Chekhov's 2 terangrials.
Chekhov's terangrial resonance.
But also, if the ring has to do with dreaming, does that mean that these, this whole thing that they do for the Aes Sedai ceremony is like also related to dreaming? I don't know.
I assume it's got to be, right?
That makes sense.
We just learned about Teller around Rihad and like how it's around everything and whatever. So makes sense.
Yeah, because it seems like they actually go somewhere. I don't know.
You would think that she would like kick this thing's ass, but I'm mostly thinking about the show. She's more into the Tel'aran'rhiod stuff in the show at this point. I don't think she's actually intentionally done it.
We do get a lot of things revealed in these little revelations here as she goes in. So unless there's anything else, should we just get into going through these one by one? The 3 trials of Egwene, which are all, as we said, to do with Rand.
Rand. The first time is for what was.
The first one of these trials of Egwene is that I feel like everybody gets one of these.
We're just back in the 2 rivers.
And Egwene's, maybe that's George. I almost said George R. R. Martin. Maybe that's Robert Jordan's excuse here is that, he's like, well, this one's not really about Rand necessarily. It's kind of about the daughter and the family thing and like just choosing the family life. It just happens to be that Rand is that guy, but it's still pretty much a Rand scenario. Because it's both her trial here is both that like she has this child and she doesn't want to leave that, but also the other trials, like she could stay and heal Rand, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the thing that she leaves off at.
Somehow, I actually think I find Egwene as a maternal figure less believable than Nynaeve.
Yeah, it doesn't. And like, why? This is what I want. Why can't I have this too? Like, that's just.
She doesn't want it.
It doesn't really.
That never seems to be.
She actually kind of like went to the tower, right? Like she made her choice.
Egwene's like the farm girl that goes and becomes like the big city lawyer or corporate big shot.
And her
or something,
high school friends never see her again.
Right.
Until she rolls into like the 10-year reunion with like a Beamer and like.
Yeah, that's the before in like a Hallmark movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Then she like
exactly
bangs the married high school quarterback, now married high school quarterback, gives him a fake number.
Well, that's not so much in the Lifetime movie.
Just to learn how to live this simple life again.
Story of my life.
Let's see. There's not all that much interesting, I think, in this one. The child's name is Joya. How do we feel about Joya?
Mid
fake name.
Mid fake baby name. I feel like Nynaeve's were better.
Yeah.
More like, oh boy.
I don't know who
Joya. I hardly know her.
I don't know who this James is, but this guy is James Daughtry. He gave them news.
Hi.
And there's like
hi me.
I do like that they say that there is like a war going on that like taking up most of the world. So Jane claims him.
The Shan Chan.
Yeah, she's the Shockin
San,
or the San Chan.
Yeah, one of them Sam Cham is you.
That was cute, but I don't know if that's like, I guess I'd take that to be like if Rand and crew and all them hadn't gone and disrupted the Shan Chan invasion, that they would have, broken out into a world-spanning conflict. I don't know. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Whatever. There's
boring. I mean, we get some Copland talk. It's good just to see some good old
Oh yeah. No Ken Bowie though.
No.
Missed a real opportunity.
Oh, he was in the show though. I saw it. Yeah.
I guess we got it resolved at Sen Bowie. Yeah.
But now I think we have to call him Sen, not Ken Bowie.
Yeah. Boo.
Just to keep the record straight. Keep the oral history alive of this podcast.
Wait, you were the one that said it was Ken Bowie.
Yeah. You got us into this mess, Sean.
Yeah.
Then I came back like the next episode and I was like, oh, actually, I misremembered. That one I didn't have confirmed. I thought that I had it confirmed one way or the other.
But then I think we just kept calling him that, which it's for comedies. It's a more comedic name.
I like it. I don't know. Ken Bowie sounds like he could be like just a redneck guy that you would meet.
Yeah, he's an alligator wrestler.
Exactly. He likes to go noodling for catfish. Yeah.
So does Moraine.
Oh, true. There's some mention of like the Amerlin seat saying something about gutting a fish in this chapter, one of these chapters.
Once you decide you got a fish, there's no wait until it rots, she says.
That's right. I thought that was a fun one. We've got to throw in at least one in every chapter that the Amerlin's in. There's this thing about how Rand has headaches, and I'm guessing that is this supposed to be in this world, like Rand not discovering his destiny to be the dragon or something like that. And so basically it's strongly hinted that in this universe, Egwene has noticed that Rand does weird shit. Like there's this one tree stump they've been trying to clear for days, and he it sounds like maybe was tired and frustrated or something, and somehow made lightning come down and explode this tree.
Like two rivers can only channel out of stubbornness.
Yep. And is mostly against stumps.
Can out stubborn a stump.
Basically there comes a moment where she notices the light. She keeps getting the thing in her head, like a repeated message. The way will come but once, be steadfast. And she's just like, oh, I could try and heal Rand. I could try and stay here and live this life. Oh, but I think I need to walk out the door or something. And so she does, and back into the real world for a second. I guess it's okay, but I almost felt it was kind of clunky to keep going back to the real world, with these things and then back into it.
I feel like you could just cut straight to the next thing.
Well, except they dropped the 13 Dark Aja Mirdoral thing right in between. Or was that in the chapter before? I think it's in between.
It's in between the second and third, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, this whole second one's pretty kind of blah.
We should just skip to the third one.
No, we must say them all.
Let's just briefly buzz through what happens in the second. Well, at least what happens in between here is they get baptized. They get some water thrown on their head every single time.
Yamanu Christu.
Aleda gets to be the one that dumped cold water on people.
Aleda's getting off on that. And basically, just real quick, she's like, okay, yeah, it's dangerous. You got to keep going, blah, blah, blah. Can't be worse than the last. Let's go. So she jumps in, and she's in Camelin, and it's like a wreck, and clearly this is like a universe where she's a full Aes Sedai and all that, and Rand is the dragon, and Rand is trapped under some rubble and about to go crazy. I can't remember. Is she wearing a particular Aja's outfit in this one?
It doesn't say.
It says blue silk sewn with pearls all dusty and torn.
I almost take that.
I figured that meant she was blue, but then in the third one, it makes a big deal about how she's green. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that, or maybe she's the queen, he's become the, king of Andor or something. I think it could be read both ways. Because I don't think she mentions being Aes Sedai.
But she says she could use air to free him, so she obviously knows.
Oh, yeah. So it could be either. it's most likely she probably is Aes Sedai.
Yeah, I think a blue makes sense.
I honestly can't remember what she chooses. I think we talked about like guessing what the Aja is. Do you guys have updated guesses for Elaine, Egwene, and Nynaeve?
Everyone becomes red.
No, the good characters can't be Slytherin. You know that.
Yeah.
I bet Nynaeve would have been had it not been for Rand.
True.
Maybe.
This one though, I do like the idea that Rand's trapped under this rubble and he's like powerful, you know, he could get it all off him, but he's the only reason that he's not is because he will sink into full madness if he does.
It's cool.
Interesting concept. Yeah, that he could do that except for that. So he's just like
in the show when she went through the rings, it was just that vision where like she's the Amerlin and he was like standing in that river being all crazy.
Yeah.
That was the only vision that they showed in the show, right?
I think so. Yeah, it was real fast. They streamlined it, which, you know what, honestly, fine. Like, as we discussed, they're all kind of the same. So
basically, yeah, they're all the same thought here.
I do like when it describes every time she comes out of these visions, she like breaks apart with light, or this one says light burned her to ash, which I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like being in dreams sometimes, and you like experience stuff that it's like you can feel things that you've never felt happening, things like that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not quite right. Maybe it's your brain's interpretation of it, but
what it's like to have 4 nipples. Yep.
Of course.
Yeah. It seems like she's getting these moments where she experiences like getting torn apart and shit by magic. It sounds intense.
Riding around in my Wienermobile, flicking my nipples.
At the wheel.
And then, and then she breaks out again. We get that weird thing with Shiriam where she's whispering about Rand and stuff. And I didn't even understand.
Oh, he said they could turn him to... It's what Egwene says. He says they could turn him to the shadow. He said the Myrddraal and Dreadlords could force him.
Is like... this makes it really, like, kind of probably proves that these are dreams. It's not like she's living those multiple worlds, like, through the portal stones. Like, I think it truly is dreams because there's no way she would have had these 13 Black Aja and 13 Myrddraal in her ring had she not heard of it. That's just too
I think that's what you're saying. Yeah.
And
Coincidental.
that's just like a real dream where you like experience something in your life and all of a sudden it shows up into your dreams in some weird way.
Like having
If Robert Jordan didn't intend it that way, that is like the clumsiest bit of storytelling. Like, oh shit, I have this idea, I gotta have her tell her about it, and then it happens. This thing we have not ever heard of before, and I don't even remember if this ever comes up. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but I don't remember any forced conversions to Black Aja, but I don't know.
But she's really worked up about it for the next couple chapters, so yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like a big thing, a big idea. Like this concept of like they need 13 is like, is that a good idea? I don't know, for how to like make Robert Jordan make this sound scary or whatever. Like
it doesn't really.
There's 13 of them. That means therefore they did that on purpose so that they could leave and they would have the ability to do that. I don't like. Wouldn't they just have as many dark Aja, Black Aja as they could get, and if they have enough to do of it seems very specific, like they're going to take exactly 13 because they need 13 to do this one specific thing. That's I guess scary that you could be turned into a dark friend or whatever.
Just weird because like the female Sidar is not corrupted, and it's not like
true.
I mean, all the Forsaken are willingly chose to follow the Dark One, and maybe that's why they're the Forsaken, and at the the top of the pecking order.
Right.
But yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's like forcing the oaths on them or something, like instilling the oaths into their soul or whatever, as we see in the show, where that person like forsakes her dark oaths and like her soul is damned to never being reborn. I don't know.
There's an odd thing in the next section too, where in the next vision, she's the Amerlin seat, and she talks about how she never took the oaths or something.
Yeah, I think it suggests that she was like forced into it, like from circumstance or something like that.
Yeah,
it's just strange to me. Well, I guess maybe it seemed like the visions in here should be like isolated, but that makes me feel like there's more to explain about that. and that we're going to find out more later about this potential future. And because, like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing to bring up to me without really explaining what it means. But maybe it's just a throwaway thing.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I mean, but there's just so much detail in this last one that they get to, where she's the Amerlin seat, like with talks about the Great Purge, and she can even kind of remember it. Yeah, like it seems a lot more real than just dreaming, but it's like, I don't know, with the whole line of like what is a potential world versus what is a dream, you know, when all this magic is involved.
Right. And I think we talked about last time or something about, you know, I was kind of hypothesizing that maybe dreaming and foretelling are kind of related, and dreaming and the other possibilities, the other turnings of the wheel or whatever, just parallel universes and things like that could be like
the Cosmere
related to what dreaming, you know, touches on. But we'll see. Basically, yeah, she learns about the 12, then goes back in, and she immediately finds out she's the Amerlin seat, and there's some lady. I thought this one was weird. It felt to me like this shifted the way that this worked a little tiny bit, where it was like all of a sudden it really played into the like Egwene just woke up as the Amerlin seat and didn't know anything about what was going on, whereas in the other ones it seemed like she got into the visions and then like it took her a second to adjust, but after she adjusted, the only thing she could remember about being like about who she really is or whatever was that little phrase that kept repeating, or the words like, remember you only get one chance to leave or whatever. Was like the only thing connecting her to who she really was. But then this one, she's like constantly like, what am I doing here? I'm the Amerlin seat. Strange. What's going on in this meeting
makes me,
that I'm going to go into?
That the way you said that makes me think of Memento, when he like comes to and he's holding a bottle of whiskey and he's like, I don't feel drunk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. That's a good observation, because I didn't really think of that. But yeah, she does seem like she is picking up the backstory, has lived the life up to that point in the other two, and this one's more.
Yeah, maybe it's the fact that she's trying to hold on to her old memories so much that's maybe having some kind of an effect, but that might be kind of pushing it.
I mean, she kind of seems to be somewhat in the moment. And
then she even like blacks out for a while in here.
It might be the spooky resonance.
Oh yeah, that might be it. Yeah,
true. Because yeah, they're having as this gets to a close here, she's like hearing basically some leak through from the real world of the Amerlin and whoever talking and being like, hold on a little bit longer. Like, this is her last chance. Everyone thinks she's gone already or something. Basically, she finds out she's the Amerlin, and with her is a lady who is, what do they call it? The keeper of the Chronicles. And that's, she's like, okay, she's Green Aja, and that means I'm Green Aja because they come from the same Aja. That position does. And so that will come up again in the next chapter. But I don't think we've ever heard this name, and it doesn't make it sound like it. Beldine?
No, it's a new.
Yeah, this is a person we don't know.
And I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if that's a real person that she meets. That would be pretty trippy. Encounter this person in this dream vision thing and then actually meet them later. This lady seems like she's terrified. I guess I just don't exactly understand what the ceremonies are that the Aes Sedai do here. They have some sort of like voting system or something, like you can just like accuse people, and then
accuse.
If enough people say they don't want you to be the Amerlin anymore, you're not the Amerlin. Yeah, I'm not Irish.
And then there's like sitters and speakers and stuff. Maybe I'm kind of confused with the show as well, but there's like all these different ranks as well. They're not full sisters.
Yeah,
even, so.
There's like three per Aja, and then one of them's like the spokesperson.
Right.
Probably the speaker, I would guess.
But yeah, basically, of course, it's Elida in there. Awkward. Elida's just outside, and then she's totally dreaming about a future where Elida tries to take over. We don't really get much of a context of what's going on previous to this point, but Rand is chained up and he is claimed to be the Dragon Reborn, and Elida's like, okay, you know what we do with guys like this? We still them or gentle them, and they're going to basically force her into doing that. It's just a little moment, and then all of a sudden she gets hit with the Keeper staff.
Yeah, Beldane betrays her is what they're trying to say. Like, because Elena, I think, set it up. Like,
but that just happens in the middle of this thing, right? Like, does that imply that the other Aes Sedai in the chamber, besides the 13, are also Black Aja, or like
they may not be Black Aja, but they could just be, normal Aes Sedai conspirators.
like infighting.
My guess is shit has really hit the fan worldwide, and like propriety has really gone out the window.
Yeah,
they mentioned that there's not very many Aes Sedai. She's like, the halls are pretty empty these days or something like that. So it does imply that some crazy shit has happened. And the fact that Egwene would be the Amerlin seat and apparently not have taken the oaths. And she wakes up. There are 13 of them. So yeah, like we said, they learned the thing just a second ago about 13. And then, oh my God, it's 13 Black Cloaked Aja. There's like men too, which are
actually Myrdrolls.
Yeah, they're Myrdrolls or are they supposed to be Dreadlords? Because I thought they mentioned Dreadlords.
Dreadlords are just human Chandlers that are Dark Friends.
Oh, I see. 13 Myrdroll and 13 Aes Sedai. You need Myrdroll for this too?
That part doesn't make sense.
They're just like, you don't want to do this without Myrdroll.
And you might as well get 13, really balance out the room.
But we have to look spooky.
Apparently, Egwene is like super. She's in this room and they're going to gentle her, but she is just too powerful or something in this universe. Maybe that's why she's the Amerlin, and she just busts everybody up pretty hard.
It's always funny to me that like she could be taken out by somebody hitting her on the head really hard, but then like all of these Myrdroll can't stop her when she has her magic. I don't know. It's kind of a funny thing.
Yeah. I did like it though. It was some good ass kicking, I think.
Egwene's revenge, and she's so confident about it too. She's like, "I'm gonna fuck these people up." It's pretty awesome. But they don't shield her, right?
I think it was like they weren't ready yet.
Yeah, she woke up too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say shield her, and it's too late.
She should have said, "You should have stilled me when you had the chance, bitch."
Yeah, Robert Jordan needs some more one-liners in here.
I mean, those are corny in most instances, but like sometimes that's what you want. We are American after all.
What does Arnold Schwarzenegger say after he throws the pipe through the dude?
Stick around.
Oh,
or no, that's Batman Robin.
It's in Commando, yes.
Probably the most one-liners per capita, in a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, I bet.
I don't know if I've seen Commando.
Full of them.
Oh yeah, let off some steam, Bennett. That's what he says. Yeah, so good.
Okay, so and then she wakes up, kicks everybody's ass. She punches. She also thanks Perrin randomly. There's like another random thing in there that infers that Perrin has taught her how to punch at some point in this universe.
The lost art of the punch.
Yeah. She does an Indiana Jones punch to Elida's assistant, and it's very satisfying. And she gets out of there, running through the halls, and she's going to go to try and rescue Rand, basically. That's like her idea, I think, to rescue Rand and get out of there. But then the way I took it from the way it describes it is that she's looking out from like a high place, like a tower thing, and like down below her, she sees like angled up at her on this like lower rooftop is a portal. And she ends up jumping down into it instead of going to save Rand.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like, and it's at the same time, we see the thing. It says, can't hold much longer if she doesn't come out now. And then this has to, of course, the signifier that we know it's the Amerlin. Burn you or I'll gut you all like sturgeons. She realizes she needs to jump. The price is to be Aes Sedai.
There's an interesting mention to Balefire and lightning, and second mention of Balefire, I think. Or maybe we never even heard that word said out loud.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the first time I heard it, you mentioned it like when Rand was apparently doing that.
Doing his serial killer prep, torturing animals.
Oh, that's right. Just running through the woods, incinerating things.
By the way, the Balefire demonstration in the show, spot on. Perfect.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty fucking cool.
Where it like rolled back like what that person did. Anyway, do you think Egwene, I mean, she had pretty epic trials, but she did not struggle the same way Nynaeve did.
I want her to learn about herself.
And do you think that's just by design?
Yeah, she learns about having to let go of
Rand.
like she might basically, I think it's like maybe it's supposed to teach her like corporate loyalty or something. She needs to be loyal to the Aes Sedai, and if it means betraying Rand, letting him be gentled, or abandoning, leaving him to deal with his own fate or whatever.
Well,
her trial is her big struggle in her life right now is she needs to let go of Rand, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, but not loyal to the Aes Sedai necessarily, because the third trial.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of like she needs to be her own person.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's lessons in these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like Nynaeve's were more targeted, though, towards like things that she needed to overcome. They do say it's just like about your worst fears or whatever. So I guess all of Egwene's fears are that she's going to have to turn against Rand or not help him when he needs help or whatever, or she's going to lose him to madness.
Yeah.
That's involved in every single one of these futures or these potential things she's afraid of.
It may have just been a matter of expediency in the show where like Egwene's like, I'm doing the fucking thing right now. Let's do it. She comes out like, all right, great. Let's go.
Yeah. She doesn't even need time to recover.
Yeah. Which is, pretty Egwene. Nynaeve is way more, for how like headstrong she is. She's way more emotional and sentimental. Obviously more emotional, but Egwene's the more like driven, success oriented, I guess you would say.
Yeah, she's really career driven.
Business talk.
Strong businesswoman in the 21st century.
She pantsuits.
She has a bias towards action.
And I support that fully.
She's a 1 in the Enneagrams.
She leans in. She pulls up a chair. Okay, sorry. We're done.
Should we move on to the next chapter?
Yeah, actually, I think we might have an ad an early ad in this episode.
I didn't even know we had one. We have so many sponsors. I just can't keep track anymore. But okay, let's go to that now.
In these uncertain times, what your organization needs is certainty. The kind of certainty that comes from knowing. Knowing what? Knowing that every single one of your employees has faced a series of grueling and death-defying ordeals on their way to working for you. With Arch Testing, you sleep safe at night knowing that our specialists have submitted every single person in your org chart to a set of reality-bending challenges, drawing on their worst fears and deepest hopes to create truly crushing conundrums personalized for maximum trauma. I know what you're asking, isn't that evil? And the answer is no. We checked. Does this test actually prove anything? Sure it does. Is this necessary? Of course. You expect nothing but the best from yourself. You deserve to demand that of everyone beneath you on pain of death. You deserve Arch Testing.
Chapter 23, Sealed. Egwene emerges from the arches as an Aes Sedai accepted. The sisters around the ceremony seem rattled as the Amyrlin completes the ceremony. Afterwards, Elena is predictably bitchy, and the Green Sister Olenna reveals that some kind of reverberation had nearly destroyed the arches when Egwene was inside. Egwene and Olenna talk about the Green Aja and Lovin' Dudes before Egwene is sent to bed. In her room, she discovers Nynaeve and a sobbing Elaine, still shaken from her own trip through the arches. That's what happened, right? I wrote that, but I realized I don't actually know. Elaine went through the arches as well, and that's what she was saying?
Yeah. No, there is a thing. Okay, let's just talk about that right now because I was confused. That was another thing that made me wonder about the nature of this place. It almost seemed to imply at the end that Elaine experienced like the same or some of the same things in a way to what Egwene did, and then it also kind of made it sound like Nynaeve was sympathizing, like she also knew sort of what they were talking about.
I think she was more. I read it more that she was sympathizing with, like, yeah, it sucks in there. That's
what I thought about with Nynaeve, but I don't know. Elaine's almost sounded. I don't know.
Well, because I think Elaine's maybe she had similar Rand visions as well. I mean,
well, she comes in and at the end of all this, and like Elaine is just crying into Nynaeve's lap, I guess.
I was gonna say, I don't think we get much on-screen time to draw any of those conclusions because they don't really talk about anything, right?
Well, so Egwene is in her head thinking about, she's like all of a sudden it's hitting her about the baby and Rand being gentled and stuff. And then she's like, I couldn't help him, Nynaeve. I just left him there. And so, yeah, I guess she just hugs him and then it's like it eases with time. So, okay, that does sound like it's just like the same. I don't know. There was something in here, though, that made me feel like there was some kind of similarity, but maybe it's just in her head.
Yeah, because it kind of just repeats what Egwene saw, but it kind of made it seem, if you read fast, you could read it as maybe Elaine. But like, all the only thing she says is that I could not be that awful Egwene. I just couldn't. So that's interesting. Like, what did she do in her?
Yeah, that's the thing where I was like, what does that mean? I couldn't be that awful.
She probably wore white after Labor Day or something like that.
Yeah. How gauche.
Whatever the Andorran version of Labor Day is.
It's Coronation Day, and yeah, you can't wear red. What was it? The blues? Yeah, I forget what the colors all mentioned there.
Yeah. Forgot about all that. We learned about some interesting random cultural things in places that I'm already forgetting about. To go back to the beginning, though, Egwene comes out, she's talking to Shireen and getting comforted a little bit. She's kind of like starts to try to talk and she's like, okay, shut up. We actually got to do a ceremony. So they splash more water on her and then she gets a gold ring with the serpent and all that. She had the second ring she's got today.
She gets the papers back. Aleda gives her the papers, right? So Aleda's handling all those papers about the Black Aja, which is interesting.
Yeah, and it makes it kind of ambiguous. I think it's supposed to suggest that it's very probable that she did at least peek at them. But it says that it was still tied up, and it looked like it could have not been disturbed, but she didn't know. It's fucking Alida. Of course, she probably took a peek. She gets that weird moment where Alana, well, she's talking to Shireen first. And I think I mentioned this earlier. She tells about how like weird stuff's happened with terangrials before. And that's what made me think that maybe that resonance thing had to do with the terangrial she was given by Varen earlier. This weird thing with Alana, and she's like, no, this is all my fault. Put me in the kitchens.
Yeah, they just go in. You just get punished by having to go in the kitchen, which again is just a job that has to be done, right? Like the same with washing the floors, right? Like these are just jobs. He's a pervasive anti-labor bias.
Yeah. Like they come from humble beginnings a lot of the time. Like, I don't know. It's not like they haven't done shit like this before, a lot of these sisters.
Yeah. Queen's dad owns an
Especially
inn.
the Amyrlin, who can't let you fucking forget it.
Yeah.
So she gets Alana doing that weird stuff and she's like, okay, well, what does it mean to be a green Aja since you're like one of the big head green Ajas to Alana? And immediately that's where the horny thing comes in, I think. Just the ring on your finger and already trying to decide which Aja to choose. First, you must love men. And I don't mean to be in love with them, but love them. I think there is some horniness there, but also maybe it's supposed to be like just in general because she talks about how blues.
The concept of men.
Yeah, because they're kind of they're the opposite of the Reds, right? So
right. The blues are in between. They like men. They don't love them, which is devastating for Lan.
I think he kind of likes that though. That's his style. He wouldn't want to be. He wouldn't want to be he wouldn't want to be a warder for a green.
And then she says she kind of describes about the browns seek knowledge, the blues meddle in causes, and whites consider the questions of truth with implacable logic. The way she describes that, I feel like there should be a more official mission description of these different Ajas. Like it's all kind of vague. They're like, oh well, those crazy blues and those evil Reds who hate men out there doing their. I don't know. There's not really a lot of structure to it. It feels like besides like general vibes. Is there like a mission statement of the Aes Sedai in general? I guess it's to fight the last battle and stop the Dark One or something.
Yeah, the first rule of the Aes Sedai is you don't fucking. Oh no, sorry.
I think it would be kind of like almost. I think it would kind of be like counter to the philosophy of the Aes Sedai to not philosophy, but you know what I mean? Like you have cross allegiances
Right.
instead of to the tower itself. So if you have like these mission statements for the Ajas, I don't know. I think those things just like tribal just developed over time that these people gravitated together. But then it doesn't really make sense to why to have 7 distinct colors.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things that just kind of like, you know, like in any anthropological phenomenon, you know, develops over thousands of years of like, you know, these religions develop and
Right.
different sects break apart. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know why I even brought it up, but for some reason, it just seems weird to have mission statements. Like they should be like, these things should be more like unofficial, like clubs, but but still have like legislative authority.
Just the way that they have like these meetings, you know, and there has to be certain representatives from the different Ajas, and they apparently do different things, and it's like,
well, that's kind of like, and yeah, if you're going to, it can't be really democratic if you're going to have equal representation of all of these different parties that all have these kind of set viewpoints that are like right, like it doesn't matter how many greens or how many reds or how many blues there are, which actually would reflect, you know, what people think is important. It just seems like every order gets their own vote, no matter how many people are actually in it, right? Like, shit, there's only one tan Aja Aes Sedai left, but she gets an equal vote.
I'm just saying, I feel like there should be more firm rules to this than there are. But I guess you just take an oath, and that's good enough. We've got some Black Aja problems here. And there's like a long discussion here about what's going to happen. Amberlin comes up. Everyone kind of comes up and says some stuff to Egwene. And then she falls asleep suddenly. She like finds herself kind of waking up. She's like in her head, comes out of it, and the Amberlin's like, well, looks like you should go to bed. But the Amberlin also, I did find it kind of interesting. She like through this part, she keeps eyeing the papers and like giving Egwene a very strange look, or like she really wants to know what those papers are all about. Makes sense. She should be reporting to her. I don't know though. I'm getting the vibes that Egwene may be taking on like the independent investigator kind of role here, where she's like, well, anybody could be Black Aja now that I'm a Black Aja hunter.
Working outside the system.
Give me your badge.
I've gone too deep.
You can't stop me now. I know too much. I'm in too deep.
The accepted.
I got this box of documents.
Before I leave, just one more thing.
No, it's actually true. Egwene has a box. It's not really a box, but she's got her documents.
A stack of documents.
Yeah.
Got my stack of documents.
She gets out of there. She gets out of there eventually, and that's when she comes back to that scene that we already kind of talked about at the end, where Elaine is in there. I don't know. I'm glad that we didn't at least need to do anything that shows us Elaine's side of it. Just let her tell us about it if she wants to later. I don't need to experience everybody's journey through the fucking rings. I'm kind of done with those.
I did get startled by the line when Elaine comes back in. Pushed opens Nynaeve's door. But Nynaeve was seated in one of the 2 chairs with Elaine's head buried in her lap. And I was like, wait, what? But no, she's just crying.
She comes upon a very unexpected scene. Robert Jordan just
takes a hard turn. Yeah,
he finally goes for it. Well, should we hit the final chapter here? We got time. I think we can do it real quick.
We can do it.
Chapter 24, Scouting and Discoveries. Matt awakens on the morning after his healing, finding that he had regained a noticeable amount of strength following the previous evening's feast. Discovering the hallway free of guards, he attempts to find his way out of the White Tower but is stopped on sight at the exit. Following a confusing and awkward encounter with Elsa Grinwell, now a novice, Matt comes upon a courtyard where warders are training with Galad and Gawain, leading to a classic farmer takes down knights with nothing but his sheep stick style encounter, earning Matt precious coins as well as a little street cred.
Matt's side questing hard here. He's grinding.
The street cred thing, I feel like, might be in his head, though. He's kind of thinking about how he probably looked cool, but I don't know. The warder guy seems to like him, I guess. Hammond or something, I don't remember. Hambone, some guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he even was really even looking for praise or glory. He's just like, I need that money.
Yeah, it was about the money for sure.
He was confident about it.
But there was this kind of scene in here where it's like he was doing it for the fun. Like that when he was kind of deciding it, what is it? He rejected them angrily, especially as he was going to do it because it would be fun and he might earn some coin.
Definitely was like super confident.
We're getting into like, I think finally getting some Matt characterization and like what's Matt's thing. And it's not just saying weird words. It's also this kind of chaos energy that he has, which is kind of cool.
Fingerless gloves.
I do like that he has like he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's like clearly got a thing about like powerful, handsome seeming people that all the women are into. And I like how both in these chapters or in this chapter, it's like Matt gets recognized by a description like multiple times. One is the guards and they're like, oh, we've been described to you and we definitely know who you are. And that sort of makes sense because the Amerlin did that. But then also apparently Elaine at some point just described what Matt looks like to the two brothers. I'm not really sure why she would have done that, but she had described him and they recognize him. So
he's a skinny, sketchy motherfucker.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's an official Aes Sedai flip book of Matt going like twiddling his fingers when you flip the pages.
Yeah.
Or like rolling a dice.
It's been going all around. That's how news spreads. Something goes viral on the internet, but just around the Aes Sedai Tower. So yeah, everybody knows Matt is here. And okay, so here's something I found interesting. At least for me, in the show, they did this scene basically, and I got the feeling in the show that maybe the way they wanted it to come across was that Matt was like something about having blown the horn, or like that fact that he's speaking in old tongue and remembering this stuff about Manetheren, like maybe that is him channeling like the old blood or whatever. Like he's having like a memory of him being a warrior in another life or something, and he's able to do this. I didn't get any clues to make me think that in here really. In the book version of this, I just got that he was just a farmer whose dad was good at the quarterstaff and he's good at the quarterstaff and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I was kind of let down by that explanation too, because I was like, I was also thinking like, oh yeah, he's just reliving his past life, and nope, he's just it's just a hick with a stick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other stuff in here. There's like him going to the guards and all that stuff, but really it is like the crux of this chapter is him fighting Galad and Gawain. I took this to heart when I first read this book as a teenager, but now I'm a lot more skeptical that like, oh yeah, the best swordsman in the world can be beaten by a farmer with a stick, and it's just that's a thing that happens.
Seemed like, dumb.
Then what the fuck is the point of a sword then? Why does everyone have sticks?
But like, they're using sticks also. They're just shorter sticks.
But at least make Matt seem like maybe he had regained a little more strength. But like it explicitly talks about how he can barely stand, and he's like using the fucking quarterstaff. I don't know.
I did kind of like that though, because he's kind of weak going into it, but then as soon as the fight starts, he just like it just goes into like describing what he's doing, and then when he's done, he's really hungry. So I do think there is some kind of magic or some kind of Taveran bullshit going on there. Yeah.
I need food. I need food. I need food.
Red Rogue needs food badly. Red Rogue needs food badly.
Gauntlet Legends.
Shit, that's what I was thinking of that, but saying Age of Empires. Sustenance.
Isn't there one that's just like food is good or something?
Food is good. When you make the guys eat. Yeah. Oh god, I love those games.
But also, I did want to mention there's that little Elsa Grinwell moment, which what did you guys think that was supposed to mean? Like, was there something that, how did they part? Like, there was nothing awkward, right? She had the thing with Rand, and
she
that's
didn't
about
like,
it. Right?
She was not pleased to see him and wanted him to get out of the way.
I just couldn't remember if there was some history.
I don't think there's anything like negative.
Yeah,
with
I think
her.
just Galad and Gawain were.
I feel like they
war. Matt can't get any action with those two around. Yeah,
which in the show they do a pretty good job when they're like banging on both sides of his room.
I know. So I guess it's just kind of teasing about that, and like maybe that he's just placed there so that he comes upon these two guys and is like, I'm gonna try and teach them a lesson. Like I said, or like we were talking about before, I still don't really find that believable that he could do this, or without like a little more intervention than it clues us into. I guess I'll say I could see it kind of still bringing in some of that idea later on that Matt is like experiencing stuff from his other lives, and that's why he's able to do things. But
is his gambling stuff like more off screen than I remember, or is it? Or am I just forgetting?
Yeah, he's barely gambled really at all. Like him and him.
Am I just forgetting?
He would hang out with Loyal off screen, and they would mention that he had basically been, or they would come upon him, and he's like finishing gambling or whatever.
He's also been just a worthless hunk of flesh, diseased flesh for the last book and a half.
100% forgettable is
more or less
his main thing.
He was the ace in the hole the whole time.
It does say something about that, actually. When he decides he wants to make his wager, it says, perhaps it was the guards, blah, blah, blah. But then perhaps it was Elsa who had an eye for the boys, wanted nothing to do with him. And all those women were staring at Galad like cats watching a jug of cream. Okay. That's the horniest description
that's real
Robert
horny.
Jordan will do.
Yeah.
Like a jug of cream. Oh, my God. What's this guy's name here? Oh, Hamar Gaiden.
Gaiden just means it was the term for a warder. Yeah.
I don't think it actually shows it in here. There's just a moment where he says, like, time to toss the dice, and then the warder looks at him. Hammer is like, you speak the old tongue? And, like, it doesn't show that he's speaking the old tongue, but I guess we just have to imply
I like
it.
that. Because I think it's happening in his head, right? Like, we're getting his narrative point of view. Yeah.
And then, and then he does the thing. He beats them up with his staff. I don't know. It was fine. To be honest, I was kind of bored.
He has to hold himself back from crushing what's-his-face's throat. That's cool.
That was at least something. Like, that's the one part that made me think maybe Matt was like at least remembering things kind of.
Yeah.
Things were leaking in from his dreaming or his remembrance from past lives. Because, like, Matt that we know has not barely fought anything, but maybe some Trollocs he's shot arrows at or something like that, and that's about it.
He doesn't leap to violent conclusions, generally speaking, from the one we know.
He leaves Galad on the ground, and I took this as maybe trying to say a little bit that Galad is like playing it up a little bit too, because like all the women rush over to him, and he's like not getting up, but he's like just letting all the women touch him for a while.
Yeah, you know how much women love when a guy doesn't get up off the ground.
You know what they say.
What do they say?
Women love their guys on the ground.
Oh man, they say that so much.
I like my men like I like my coffee on the ground.
Oh my God. Good one. So, like I said, Matt gets some street cred, but not really here. I was just kind of being a little tongue-in-cheek about that in my summary, because none of the Aes Sedai even glanced this way. One of the accepted did. A plump girl, he might have liked to ask for a dance if she were not going to be an Aes Sedai. She frowned at him, sniffed, and turned back to peering at what the Aes Sedai were doing around Galad. They're just mad at him for beating up their pretty boy, but I think it's working out just fine for him.
I would have even boned that fatty over there, but she won't even like me.
I know. Jesus Christ. And then, Hammer gives him his money.
Hammer time.
He asks him where he's from, and he tells the warder he's from Manetherin. The Two Rivers. So that is another thing where he's getting some leakage. And then he keeps the quarterstaff. I do like that.
Knowing Robert Jordan, he'll throw it away before he even uses it again.
Oh my God! Yeah, I forgot about Loyal's quarterstaff.
At least one guy used.
Yeah, I'm never gonna forgive him for that. Worst thing I've ever read.
Robert Jordan, who came up with somehow the opposite to Chekhov's gun. It's just introduce things that you're never gonna show again. Like thanks, man.
A picture is like maybe 15 minutes till print, and they're like, Loyal can't use a staff. He's down the road. Some butterfly effect. He's like, okay, he'll just at the end, he'll throw the staff away.
He didn't bother
And instead of
rewriting
cutting it,
yeah.
he just throws it.
He just didn't have time. We don't have time, man.
It's like,
We
yeah,
have to send it
but they'll
now.
never forgive
it's like the
you.
beginning of a Chekhov play. Somebody's like, "What the fuck is this gun doing in here? Let's throw it away," and just chuck it in the garbage.
Yeah. Gun. Ew.
I hate those.
But those out.
I like to think that his wife slash editor is like, she's argued enough things to get him to take out, like, you don't need this, but he's just like, is barely holding on to the staff or whatever. He's like, I gotta put in loyal staff. I guess I've gotten to the point where I've read enough of these books that I'm starting to get the repeated things, it's almost nostalgic for me at this point, things that maybe would bug me in other circumstances. I feel like this happens to me actually with like long book series sometimes too, where like I can't tell if I'm just like nostalgic for the series that I kind of like existing in the universe of for a while, and like, is everything actually good in this, or am I just a fanboy now a little?
Yeah, we definitely have a critical eye with this one.
I did have that feeling reading the Matt chapter, actually, that same thing where it's like, just having finished this season of the show and like things are happening, it's so action packed, and like I thought the exact same thing. Is like, sometimes it's good to just slow down and just kind of get into the minutia of things a little bit. Not too often, but just kind of like, it wasn't really like a day in the life kind of moment, but it was just kind of like one of those chapters that didn't need to happen, but builds the richness of things.
I think we need some like daily life kind of chapter. We talked about this one. That thing happened with Moiraine and the fish catching and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah, this is
you
nice.
you need that.
It's just good when we don't get, if we get lucky and like we have one of those day in the life chapters with 2 action chapters, rather than I feel like a couple weeks ago we had like 3 day in the life chapters in one episode. Or
I like the chapters we got here, even though like, man, that one was so long, but we got through that, and that is, I believe, the longest chapter in the book. And it looks like our next ones coming up are pretty decently sized, like they're pretty short. Matt is doing these small scale kind of not as important to the overall story kind of things, some just development here and exploration of characters and what's going on right now.
Side quests.
Yeah, so like to him, scouting and discovery, it's like a kind of like tongue-in-cheek description of what he's doing. He's like going out there and surveying the landscape.
Running down the street in Tarvalon, someone's like, "Hey, you there, hey, you there, hey,
And
you
then
there, you
he
there."
wouldn't talk to them.
And you're like, God damn it.
Got caught in a loop. And
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of another episode of the Bridgeburners Book Club. We would love it if you follow us on Instagram at Bridgeburners Book Club, on Twitter at BridgeburnersBC, and find us on YouTube at Bridgeburners Book Club, where we post full episodes, clips, and polls. If you would like to write in, shoot us an email at bridgeburnersbc@gmail.com with any comments, questions, or contentions, and maybe we'll read them on air. You can also join our Discord with the link in the episode description for discussions, questions, or to post your best memes. It really helps the show to grow if you give us a rating on Apple and Google Podcasts, so please consider helping. I'm the Sean Chan, and for my co-hosts, Ben Bowie and Tyler the Creator, thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week.
man, this is real way off topic, but I was in the locker room at the courthouse, the gym today, and I was thinking like how funny it would be to do a sketch where it's like you've just like remodeled your gym locker room, and like so you're taking pictures, you know, it's no one's in there, and so you're just going in and taking pictures to post on the website, and like you put them on your computer and you're like editing them, and then like even though there was no one in the picture, there's still a hint of old man's balls and asshole in every picture.
Yep. Like,
It's
Like a ghost.
Yeah.
on the edges.
It's just from the back. It's just from the, you know, the
background radiation of
the back
balls.
shot.
Yeah.
And like it's like a ghost taint and balls. I don't know. I'm still developing it. I don't know where that came from, but
Keep us updated on that.